Hello, I'm Vicki Mahaffey, an old friend of the Rosenbach, and I will be reading from Ulysses, episode 17. What visible luminous sign attracted Bloom's, who attracted Stephen's, gaze? In the second story rear of his, Bloom's, house, the light of a paraffin oil lamp with oblique shade projected on a screen of roller blind supplied by Frank O'Hara, window blind, curtain pole, and revolving shutter manufacturer, 16 Angier Street. How did he elucidate the mystery of an invisible attractive person, his wife Marion, Molly, Bloom, denoted by a visible, splendid sign, a lamp? With indirect and direct verbal allusions or affirmations, with subdued affection and admiration, with description, with impediment, with suggestion. Both then were silent, each contemplating the other in both mirrors of the reciprocal flesh of their, his, not his, fellow faces. Were they indefinitely inactive? At Stephen's suggestion, at Bloom's instigation, both, first Stephen, then Bloom, in penumbra urinated, their sides contiguous, their organs of micturition reciprocally rendered invisible by manual circumposition, their gazes, first Bloom's, then Stephen's, elevated to the projected luminous and semi-luminous shadow. Similarly, the trajectories of their sequent, then simultaneous urinations were dissimilar. Bloom's longer, less irruent, in the incomplete form of the bifurcated penultimate alphabetical letter, who, in his ultimate year at high school, 1880, had been capable of attaining the point of greatest altitude against the whole concurrent strength of the institution, 210 scholars. Stephen's higher, more sibilant, who in the ultimate hours of the previous day had augmented by diuretic consumption and insistent vesical pressure. What different problems presented themselves to each concerning the invisible, audible, collateral organ of the other? To Bloom, the problems of irritability, tumescence, rigidity, reactivity, dimension, sanitariness, pilosity. To Stephen, the problem of the sacerdotal integrity of Jesus circumcised, 1 January, holiday of obligation to hear Mass and abstain from unnecessary servile work, and the problem as to whether the divine prepuce, the carnal bridle ring of the Holy Roman Catholic Apostolic Church, conserved in Calcutta, were deserving of simple hyperduly or of the 4th degree of latria accorded to the abscission of such divine excrescences as hair and toenails. What celestial sign was by both simultaneously observed? A star precipitated with great apparent velocity across the firmament from Vega in the Lyre, above the zenith, beyond the star group of the Tress of Berenice, towards the zodiacal sign of Leo. How did this centripetal remainer afford egress to the centrifugal departer? By inserting the barrel of an eruginated male key in the hole of an unstable female lock, obtaining a purchase on the bow of the key, and turning its wards from right to left, withdrawing a bolt from its staple, pulling inward spasmodically an obsolescent unhinged door, and revealing an aperture for free egress and free ingress. How did they take leave one of the other in separation? Standing perpendicular at the same door and on different sides of its base, the lines of their valedictory arms meeting at any point and forming any angle less than the sum of two right angles. What sound accompanied the union of their tangent, the disunion of their, respectively, centrifugal and centripetal hands? the sound of the peal of the hour of the night by the chime of the bells in the church of St. George. What echoes of that sound were by both and each heard? By Stephen, Liliata rutulantium, turma circumdet, jubilantium te virgenum, chorus excipiat. By Bloom, hey ho, hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. Where were the several members of the company with which Bloom that day, at the bidding of that peal, had traveled from Sandy Mount in the south to Glasnevin in the north? Martin Cunningham, in bed. Jack Power, in bed. Simon Dedalus, in bed. Ned Lambert, in bed. Tom Kernan, in bed. Joe Hines, in bed. John Henry Menton, in bed. Bernard Corrigan, in bed. Patsy Dignam, in bed. Patty Dignam, in the grave. Alone, what did Bloom hear? The double reverberation of retreating feet on the heaven-born earth, the double vibration of a Jew's harp in the resonant lane. Alone, what did Bloom feel? The cold of interstellar space, thousands of degrees below freezing point, or the absolute zero of Fahrenheit, centigrade, or Reaumur, the incipient intimations of proximate dawn. Of what did bell chime and hand touch and footstep and lone chill remind him? Of companions, now in various manners in different places defunct. Percy Apjohn, killed in action, Modder River. Philip Gilligan, this, Jervis Street Hospital. Matthew F. Kane, accidental drowning, Dublin Bay. Philip Moisel, Paemia, Haighesbury Street. Michael Hart, this, Mater Misericordiae Hospital. Patrick Dignam, apoplexy, Sandy Mount. What prospect of what phenomenon inclined him to remain? The disparition of three final stars, the diffusion of daybreak, the apparition of a new solar disk. Had he ever been a spectator of these phenomena? Once in 1887, after a protracted performance of charades in the house of Luke Doyle, Kemidge, he had awaited with patience the apparition of the diurnal phenomenon. Seated on a wall, his gaze turned in the direction of Mizrach, the east. He remembered the initial paraphenomena: more active air, a matutinal distant cock, ecclesiastical clocks at various points, avine music, the isolated tread of an early wayfarer, the visible diffusion of the light of an invisible luminous body, the first golden limb of the resurgent sun perceptible low in the horizon. Did he remain? With deep inspiration, he returned, retraversing the garden, re-entering the passage, reclosing the door. With brief suspiration, he reassumed the candle, reascended the stairs, reapproached the door of the front room, hall door, and re-entered. Happy Bloomsday from the Rosenbach.